Blessings. We are back with another video. A couple quick announcements before I get into the topic, the video. Yearly forecast readings are winding down, maybe another week or two, and then I stopped those. So if you are interested in booking a 2024 yearly forecast reading, you might want to do that now. Again, when you send me an email to book a forecast reading, please put that in the subject title of your email. Very important. I see that, so I can get all those all those readings booked before I stop doing them. So if you're interested in a 2024 yearly forecast reading or any other type of reading, I offer a Clepothic demonic reading, a Santa Muerte reading, an Egyptian oracle reading, a deity reading to see what gods, goddesses, demons, and spirits walk with you, a shadow work reading, which, as I've said many times before, is a great place to start and begin. Or looking for the right direction you should be going in with your ritual work. All of that is critical, key, and important. A shadow work reading would be the way to go. So if you're interested in any of those aforementioned, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com, and I'll send you information on how to book a spiritual reading or a consultation. All right. If you want to sign up for classes that I offer, the best way to sign up for classes that I offer, real simple. Go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. That's patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. And tier 3. Tier 3 is the tier you want to join. That will give you access to all of the classes that I do 3 times a month on Patreon for Patreon members only, and plus the group ritual we do at the end of the month. Also, when you join, you get access not just from the day you join moving forward, you get access to everything in the archive going back 4 years plus. So that's access to all the ongoing series of classes, which I'm constantly adding content. New classes are being added regularly. You get access to all the ritual work and the classes in addition to the group rituals. And again, I say with confidence, not arrogance, for what I'm offering, for the price that I offer it. I don't think anybody's giving you the amount of content that I am offering. Okay? With no filters, no chases, raw, straight to the point. All right? Also, don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9, one word. Facebook, Primordial Chaos, 2 words. Don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, which is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. And the link to the podcast, my contact email address, the social media page links, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes, all of that is in the description box of this video that you are watching right now. All right. You see the video title. Okay. Demons of the Black Sun. Okay. In different systems, the concept of the Black Sun and what it represents can be correlated across the board through different systems. So what are the pandemonium Mandela of the Black Sun, or the demons of the Black Sun? You'll see different takes on this. Okay. Now, what's been revealed to me in the gnosis that I've uncovered on this subject, in addition to what's out there, there's a deep spiritual significance to this if you know how to correlate it to yourself and your spiritual and ritual work. Okay? 1, in order to, as we know, and we have to always make sure we're clear on this principle, in order for us to elevate, in order for us to master ourselves, in order for us to reach our divine potential, whatever terms you want to use for it, in order for you to become who you're truly destined to be, which is to master yourself, become a master, a god, a goddess, whatever terminology that fits the description, right? One must be baptized and submerged into darkness, okay? You must immerse and engulf yourself and be baptized in pure darkness. People misunderstand that term. Those that don't know hear that darkness, there's that gloom, doom, evil. No. It's the point or origin of the essence of where all things have their starting point. Notice I didn't say beginning, because what we deal with is cyclical in nature when we're talking about time, beginning and end and all that. So I'm not talking starting point. Okay? This is why in all major initiatic orders, when they do rituals and initiations, this is why you're blindfolded and you go through it, quote unquote, in the darkness. So I just want to correlate a metaphor to you. For anybody who's been in initiatic order, whether it's the Freemasons, the Eastern Stars, etc., OTO, you know that that's incorporated, because what happens is when you are blindfolded in an initiatic ritual, after the fear or the unknown or whatever emotions and the adrenaline settles down and you adjust, because always, regardless of how many times you've done something like that or been through that, there's always that anticipation, a little bit of anxiety, and certain individuals, the fear of the unknown. Once you adjust and adapt and those things subside, you're not relying, the fear that is gone, you're not relying on these two physical eyes to see anymore. You're relying on this, what they call third eye, to see. So you've now adjusted and adapted. Anybody like myself and others who've been through rituals like that, you start to really just navigate through the ritual. You start to trust that third eye to guide you through the ritual, to see, sense. It's like it's one sense, it becomes one sense. You're able to see, feel, hear, touch, smell, the whole nine, because all the senses in the body become one. Because you're relying now on pure intellect as the guidance. Not these two things, not the physical things that are the lower part of our nature that we become so dependent on. That's not where you're going to get the spiritual answers. So in that darkness, you've activated a certain level of intellect, right? Because when all of the external distractions are removed, when all of the worldly, mortal things that you depend on, your mind, your subconscious mind starts to understand they don't exist and you don't need them in what you're getting ready to do, which is go into a deeper initiation of self. Now, the mysteries of the black sun are connected to what we call also the black flame of consciousness, right? Because this represents a certain energy and awareness that activates and opens our psyche to a certain level of intellect and information. It also is the porthole or the gateway through the subjective realms to connect with the daemons or demons of these abodes, okay? So all of this there's a connection, there's a correlation. Now, something I found through my ritual work, that black sun also is something that burns within you. And it's connected to what I call your heart chakra, okay? Because that's the root seat of your power, your emotions, your passion, okay? And as I've said before, there literally is a burning sun that resides within you. I've been talking about this on and off for years. Okay? There's something that goes back into the teachings of the Ethiopians of philosophy. Okay? And they talk about this sun, for an example. And there's something that they describe why certain cultures wore their, and this is important to understand, why they wore their hair in its natural state, regardless of what your ethnicity is, right? But especially some of these tribes that had what we call kingly or woolly type of hair, right? And they believed that when the hair was in its natural state and grew out to the sun, it would absorb the energy of the sun and it would recharge this region called the solar plexus, right? This is what they call this part of our body. As we know, the English word solar comes from the Latin word sun, soul, right? Soul, S-O-U-L. They're telling you a lot of things with yourself and the connection of the sun, and how the sun, as we know, just through natural understanding, the importance of natural vitamin D, which the most powerful natural vitamin D you can obtain is through natural sunlight. And natural sunlight and pure vitamin D boosts and strengthens your overall immune system, your nervous system. It's a key component for optimum health. So what's the connection with all this? So if that sun ignites this sun, and from where this sun is in the solar plexus is the root seat of your heart chakra, where you get your emotions and your passion when you are doing ritual work, right? It is the seat or the entrance or the doorway, okay, to that abode of what we're calling the demonic abode, the abode of the gods, the goddesses, and the demons. Okay? There's a correlation to all of this. They don't want us to understand that, because then it keeps us in systems of faith and belief and depending on something or somebody else for the understanding of who and what we are. Okay? A lot of us don't have a deep understanding of our functioning aspect as intelligent, thinking, walking beings on this planet. Some embrace their mortality and believe that there's a higher power outside themselves that they're inferior to, and that's okay if that's your choice. Then there's some who embrace the concept that we are interconnected and part of all of that, not separate from it. So I'm trying to also get you to see, when you look at nature, creation, when you connect yourself in correlation to that, when you understand the spiritual, quote, I'm using terms that are simple for everybody to understand, when you understand the spiritual realms and what they are, that it's not above, it's not a below, it's interwoven around you. I've been saying that for years. Stop thinking that it's somewhere out there and up there, that's where you need to connect to some highly spiritual or mystical realm. This is also confirming that to connecting to these abodes and realms is within you. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. That's the correlation to nature, creation, and the sun, and the correlation of how it connects to you. See, we don't really understand sometimes when we're reading things, studying things, doing ritual work, understanding concepts and principles and how to apply them. Okay? Now, each individual sometimes is going to grasp something beyond what they might be seeing, absorbing, and reading and studying on the surface. So some of us go deeper in the hidden gnosis of certain things. Now, some people may say, well, I don't get that or relate to that sometimes, and you may not. But that doesn't mean there isn't some hidden gnosis and further growth there. It just may mean you may not be connecting with it at the moment, or you're just not there yet, and vice versa. That's just how we navigate on this path. But the black sun, when you hear this a lot, it's you can tie it into primordial chaos, that stage of pure darkness where all things emerged from. You can tie it into an opening or a gateway to higher states of consciousness, which really are pathways and gateways and realms, okay, to your subjective consciousness, where many subjective realms and multiverses exist. And this is why when we use the concept that time is infinite, that's what the word infinite means. And on something that's infinite, you cannot put a time frame on, a beginning and an end. See, once you start to tap in outside of this person, place, and thing that limits you, this three-dimensional existence and understanding, it's hard for you to grasp if you can't. Because the problem is a lot of people want answers to very intricate spiritual questions, but they think they're going to get that understanding in this three-dimensional existence. It doesn't work. And I always use the example I've said for many years. It's like asking the question, who is God and how did God get here? You're going to get an answer that's going to be defined by that, and it's not going to really make sense because it's going to get you to a point where you're going to get stuck like Chuck. For an example, if you're asking it from a religious perspective, from the book of Genesis, for an example, it says, in the beginning, God created, and any intelligent thinking being says, well, if this is the beginning, how did God get there? Well, the average person's going to get spooky and super mystical and start to say things like, God just is, brother. And God always was and will. Okay, it's a nice, philosophical, deep answer, but just say you don't know. And that's not something that could be worded from a three-dimensional perspective, is my point. So everybody has to come to the realization of certain things like that through their spiritual work. The demons of the black sun, or the black sun of consciousness, the black flame of consciousness, represents going beyond that three-dimensional understanding of person, place, or thing. If you're really doing ritual work and you're tapped in on a spiritual level, then this is something that should be very obvious to you. Okay? This is something that should be very crystal clear to you. We're supposed to be going outside of these concepts and principles for a greater understanding. The problem is sometimes the weak part of our nature, the lower part of our mortality, creeps in and it creates a mental, emotional, and a spiritual block for that greater understanding. And that could be for many reasons. Just not grasping certain levels of knowledge. Could be certain spiritual, mental, emotional blockages. Could be some psychological things going on there. We have to understand when we're talking about concepts like this, we're going beyond what we would call the normal. This, to me, is kind of the fine line of what separates those who are called on this path to those who are actually chosen. Okay? That's why I say those things, and that's why I did videos on stuff like that. It's not to be judgmental, because that's not what it's meant for in any shape, form, or fashion. It's just to be factual. Because as I said before, and then to everybody that, you have people out there that, you know, I call them the source fact checkers on everything, right? The source fact checkers on everything. When it comes to certain things of a spiritual nature, unfortunately, you're not going to find some source, some book, or some author to validate everything within your spiritual journey. So those are the ones that don't really embrace anything spiritual beyond their basic understanding. They think they do, but they really don't. Now, I'm not talking about historical data. I'm not talking about certain mathematical and science. I'm not talking about that. Yes, that's stuff that can be fact-checked, stuff that sources can be provided for. But everything beyond the physical or the realm of three-dimensional existence, person, place, and thing, not all that can be fact-checked in a book by some author, some source, or some reference. So that's entirely up to you if you're going to accept that or not. And you shouldn't accept anything until you can accept it for yourself. Okay? So you've got to figure out how you're going to navigate through this journey. Are you willing to be submerged in that darkness? Are you willing to be purified by the black sun of consciousness, for lack of a better word? Because beyond, on the other side of that sun, which, as I said before, is connected to you here, whether you're aware of it or not. And this is why they always try to feed off of your emotions to disconnect you, that connection to the black sun of consciousness. Because this is also where the root seat of your emotions are. So they go to work to us, one, through here, but also controlling the emotions we exhibit through it. Now, we know it's all interconnected. That's obvious. But if they can really get into the heart and the root seat of your emotions, you can be controlled by your emotions. Okay, and there's certain emotions they control and use. Fear, terror, anything that's in alignment with those principles to get you off of your spiritual path, to get you thinking outside of yourself, to make you embrace concepts that everything in this world, everything that's external, outside of me, beyond me, beyond my control, is what is the controlling force that controls everything in life and existence. And then you become a slave. You take on a slave mentality and believe you're at the mercy of external inferior forces. When I say that this is an inward journey out, I don't think people really understand what I mean when I'm saying that. People, this is an inward journey out. You better wake up and understand what's going on inside of here and how that works its way or proceeds forward and connects to this world. Remember I said, you're living in two worlds that exist side by side with each other. It goes over people's head. They don't get it. If you want me to simplify it, there's that internal world, the real you, and then there's the external world. The abode of the demonic abode of the black sun is the gateway to that world. Okay? As crazy as it may sound, for those that may not understand it, keep searching. For those that are in alignment, know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Keep on your path and your journey. Okay? Because your existence is forever. It is eternal. You'll start to understand that greater as you grow on this path. All right, I'm going to have to stop this here. I think I may continue this later if I get some time. So I'm going to stop here. Again, if you need to reach out to me for a spiritual reading or a consultation, my contact email address, along with the links to the social media pages, along with the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All that contact information to get at me, all of that is in the description box of this video you are watching right now. All right, I hope this video helped you. I'll try to elaborate a little more on this topic. Final blessings. We'll talk soon.